Hello guys, my bike has been ready, but the only issue that I had is I run my hot wire to the switch into my handlebars with a really thick heavy gauge wire because I don't have a relay yet on my starter. And on most of the modern vehicles, cars, trucks, boats, relays are a very useful tool because inside the relay is a resistor in a coil which is using the electricity into the resistor so the wires they don't get hot. That's why otherwise you will have to use a really heavy switch to be able to start a car or run in your power windows, anything else like that. And generally, if you look, the wiring on a starter per se, a motorcycle, is a very little button with very little thin wiring, and that wire is really not capable to carry the load from a starter generally, and the wire that will burn, you could burn the entire motor or the vehicle. So right now I have I think I'm running like about a 12 gauge wire, so I can touch them and start the bike. But I just placed an order for a regular motorcycle starter switch, so I'm gonna have to use a relay. So I'm gonna show you guys very simple how a relay works. And usually on any relay, this is a 30 to 40 amp relay. You have right there the diagram of how the relay operates, and 86 and 85 is going to be where you plug your electric coming in from your battery, and through your switch it goes back out. And on the other side you have 87, 8, 87 and 30. If you guys can see right here, it shows you then 87 and 30 and 87 8. 87 8 is continuous power. I will explain it on this little piece of paper so you guys can see where you need to apply it, because you can have the starter running all the time or you can have it running with the switch kick in. So let me explain this on the paper. Okay, so when we look at the relay, we're gonna find, I'm gonna turn this piece of paper around so you guys can see it in a second. You're gonna have terminal 85, 86, 87 8, 87 and 30. Okay, now we're gonna pretend right here we have our switch, and the switch is gonna have their terminals. All right, we pretend that we have our switch, we have a relay, it have our terminals, and what we're gonna do is somewhere you're gonna have your battery with your negative and your positive. What you want to do is take your positive from your battery, okay, and you're gonna run it to your switch, right? Remember this switch, when you throw the switch right or left, you press it, the switch inside it will bridge your power through the other end that it comes out, right? It comes out of your switch into pin 86. Right now you will have current traveling through your switch. So when you throw your switch on, the current goes inside your relay, right? I'm sorry for that moment of mind lost. And then into your relay, you need to now you have power on your relay, but you don't have ground. So you're gonna use pin 85 and run it into your ground, okay? So on this case, I'm gonna take this and paint it black. That means we know that that's our ground. So right now we have energized the relay. So now the relay have the magnetic field inside the conductor right here to be able to, when you throw the switch and you have positive traveling through your switch into pin 86 and 85 is grounded, this inside the relay will be able to throw that power into your load that at that moment will be your motor where you have your starter, okay? You have energizing your switch and you have an energizing your relay, but you don't have an energize your load. In this case will be your starter motor for your motor. To do that, you're gonna have to set up your load now. So now when you throw the switch, you have power for this relay to connect and disconnect, but you don't have power, positive and negative, to your load, which in this case we're talking about a starter. So now you're gonna take the pin number 30, and also you're gonna run it to the positive of your battery, okay? So now you are working on the other half of your switch to energize now your load, so this could work. All right, fellas, this is where it could become not a little tricky, but it could be. So, like I said, we divide these in half, right? One half, and we already set up the power end of the switch. So the magnetic field is already made, but now we need to set up the load. So as I was saying, the continuity of this, that means with the switch off, this is bridged together inside your solenoid, okay? That means if you will connect this load right through here, power, it will be constantly running through, and the starter, your motor, your light bulb, or whatever you're using, it will be constantly running. But because we don't want to do that, we're going to be now connecting the power source, which will be the positive on your load, then in this case will be the motor or anything that is your load, into pin 87. So usually out of your starter motor, if we're talking this for a motorcycle, or I have friends that they fly paramotors or anything else like that, your motor is already grounded on your frame into the motorcycle motor itself. So you're only going to have generally one power outlet, which will be that is going to be connected to 87. Okay. All right. So on my case, my motor is already grounded into the frame, and my battery is already grounded into the frame itself from my coil and everything. So I don't need to run a ground wire. But if you do have a ground wire on a motor that you maybe want to use, that is not my case, then you need to run your ground wire through your battery. Okay, so this will be black wire, right? This black wire, it'll be grounded, but in my case, I don't need it. So now we complete both half of these to make it work. Like we said, the continuity is from 87A, actually 8, not 4, to 3. If this positive will be connected here, this constant will be running. But right now, right here inside this guy, this little tab, it will switch. When you turn this switch on, right, and you energize this side of the solenoid, this little tab, it will be flapping from here over to there. And then when you turn the switch off, this goes back to the other side. So now you have your entire cycle. So if we throw the switch on, or you press the button down, on my case of the starter, right, this will energize your positive wire through back into there, and you're already grounded, and the starter will start turning your motor on, and when your motor starts, you roll off the switch, or you drop the toggle, and it goes back up. Okay, so that will be as simple as I could draw how to run and wire a solenoid. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this up for a second and show you guys again. So you're gonna have your battery. Generally, on a case of a motorcycle, you have a wire that is already grounded. So your starter is already grounded, but in case that you use, let's say, an electric motor for a window, then it's not grounded into anything. You will have to run a ground wire to the battery. You will have to run a ground wire to pin 85. Then you're going to take the positive through your switch, out to your switch to pin 86. So you create the polarity on your solenoid. Then you're going to run a hot wire, a positive wire, to the other half of your solenoid that'll go into your battery, right? And then your positive from your motor or your starter, it goes to pin 87. And when you throw your switch, this little magnetic thing, this little toggle switch inside your solenoid, it will move over, running this hot through here in there, energizing your load. And when you turn the switch off, this goes back down the opposite way. It'll go that way, and that's it, and doesn't run. So I'm gonna be putting my solenoid, which is a 5-pin, and 5 pins they all have. They might have the pins on different positionings, but they all run the same way. So if anybody they want to, powerize a starter or electric motor or anything else that have high consumption, you won't be able to do it through the switch, because the switches, they generally have very, very thin wires, and in overheat in your switch, it will burn, and your cables will burn. So you will use a 30 amp, 40 amp solenoid for it. I hope this video is helpful, and I'm gonna be running mine. I'm gonna wire it up the same way that I'm showing you this, and I should be able to have a starter with a very thin switch without having any problem, because right now, like I said, I'm using heavy wires, and all what I do is just touch the wires to start my bike, because I didn't really have a solenoid at the moment that I wired it together. So I just was running it like that, and the wires, they do get hot, and sometimes they burn your thumb just from contact. Okay, that's it. All right, guys, enjoy it. My next video is gonna be, they've been asking me to do a speed, a top speed test, and then I'm gonna probably work on my gearing to see if I can get more speed. Right now, I'm not sure exactly, but I will about imagine 65 miles an hour, maybe a little better. I've been getting out of the 150. Talk to you guys soon.